Hello, my name is Blake Hutchins. For my Authentic Christianity book report, I read Money, Sex, and Power, The Challenge of a Disciplined Life by Richard J. Foster. Very good book overall. Really enjoyed it. Didn't get super miserable while reading it. Um, really good overall. Just dealt with a lot of stuff in Christianity, but also in society and how these certain topics can affect us overall. The first chapter kind of talks about just tying these things to main institutions and just society in general, but also in God's kingdom and what He intended for, tying money to business, sex to marriage, and power to government. All three institutions that God created and God was over, but over time society has just become uh, just in themselves of an inhumanity and less reflective of God when orchestrating them. So moving on to the first topic would be, which was money. The first couple of chapters talk about just the bad and good benefits of it, whether you have a lot of money or a small amount of money, whatever it is, you can still use your resources and what you have for good or for bad over people or to give back to others. And just talks a little bit about how Jesus also sacrificed and told his disciples how to sacrifice with what they had and not to keep their blessings for themselves in that way. Um, After that, the author talks about sex and how it still branches from that same idea that it's tied to these three institutions God intended to be a certain way, sex being tied to marriage. And so the first chapter reflects this couple in the Song of Solomon's and just talks about their relationship as husband and wife, their commitment to each other through the temptations they faced as a couple and while being separated. And that was um, the main kind of tie overall in those segments of chapters was that when you are linked with God and tied to Him, as both members of the couple were, you can really be just more focused on how to commit that relationship to what God intends. He also talks about uh, spirituality and being single, spirituality and being married, as well as homosexuality, which he really takes on in a good way, but just the right way of being able to care for those individuals and recognizing that um, it's just a struggle. It's a sin that people suffer through, but all people sin. So just to be aware of that in a certain way. And then talking about power, talks about destructive power, creative power. But overall, I think the last chapter kind of got my attention with how just the vow to serve, and it was kind of goes back to the reflection of what the author talked about with money and what Jesus demonstrated how when you're in position of having power or having more money over certain individuals, you're to use that to benefit them and benefit the people that are around you. And the book overall just illustrates a lot of little details to um, tying God to these certain things, because all of these are institutions in our own life, whether we're more high in them or whether you're married or single, whether you are of high power or not, you still have to be instituted in them somewhere in your life. And so it's good to be reflective of God and what God's word says for you individually in these institutions that the book talks about. But that's pretty much it overall. Really good topic, and I look forward to learning specifically about these topics in our class as well as we continue on to the chapters and taking steps towards God. Hope some of those chapters are reflective from what I learned here in this book. Thank you for watching.